Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the British Empire. The empire started in 16th century AD. It began spreading the country's rule and power beyond its borders through a process called imperialism. This brought huge changes to societies, industries, cultures, and lives of people all around the world. The amount of land and number of people under the British rule changed in size over the years. At its height in 1922, it was the largest empire the world has ever seen, covering around a quarter of Earth's land surface and ruling over 458 million people. England, in what is now Britain, wanted more land overseas, where it could build new colonies. These colonies would provide England with valuable materials like metals, sugar, and tobacco, which they could also sell to other countries. The colonies also offered money-making opportunities for the wealthy Englishmen, and provided England's poor and unemployed with new places to live and new jobs. Over the course of the 17th and 18th centuries, England gained major colonies in North America and further south in West Indies. Here the climate was perfect for growing crops like sugar and tobacco, so they set up farms known as plantations. Trading settlements were also created in India by a company called the East India Company. This company became so powerful, it allowed India to control the trade of luxury goods like spices, cotton, silk, and tea from India and China. It influenced politics. The years 1775 to 1783 marked a turning point in British history, as the nation lost a huge part of its empire in the American War of Independence. 13 colonies in North America united and fought to be free from British rule. With the help of Spain, France, and the Netherlands, they won the war and gained independence, becoming the United States of America. This marked the end of what is now called the First British Empire. Although Britain lost a huge part of its North American territories, it claimed the lands in the late 18th century and the early 19th century, forming the Second British Empire. Colonies were founded in parts of Australia and later Trinidad and Sri Lanka, Singapore and Hong Kong, as well as other parts of Asia. From 1881 to 1902, Britain competed with other European empire builders in what became known as the Scramble for Africa. By the early 1900s, huge parts of Africa included Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, and large areas of southern Africa all came under British rule. The British Empire was larger and more powerful than ever. During the Second World War, India suffered some of the worst famines in human history, partly caused by the British government taking vital supplies away from Indian people to support the war effort elsewhere, causing the death of millions. Indigenous peoples in Africa were affected in their millions. The British took valuable materials like gold, salt, and ivory out of Africa and sent it back to Britain and elsewhere. The British were also heavily involved in the transatlantic slave trade in West Africa. One of the most horrific parts of the history of the British Empire was its involvement in the trade of enslaved people. Slavery made Britain incredibly wealthy. It provided slave owners with unpaid labor to farm expensive items like sugar, tobacco, and cotton, which they could sell for huge profits. It also largely funded Britain's Industrial Revolution, which only went on to make Britain richer. Even though slavery ended many years later, its legacy continued to live on. Over the course of the 20th century, the British Empire broke down by stages. After World War I, a feeling of nationalism swept the globe, and in 1926, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa became independent. In 1947, India won its independence, and from the 1950s to 1980s, African colonies also fought for and won independence. The last significant British colony, Hong Kong, was returned to China in 1997. What had taken hundreds of years to build was broken down far quicker. That's all for today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye.